The recruiting segments that are going to start coming forth officially begins, I don't know, probably right about now.
You are Locked On Oklahoma State, your daily podcast on the Oklahoma State Cowboys, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Howdy, y'all, and hello, all. Welcome back to Locked On Oklahoma State, your daily stop for all things Cowboy and Cowgirl related. My name is Cody Stovall. I will be the host today as we take this crash course on what we have going on in the transfer and recruiting market. And luckily, we are available on every single podcasting platform, as well as obviously on YouTube. And today I have the pleasure of bringing in somebody that was kind of at the forefront to the new space that you see, which we'll talk about the Twitter side of it in a minute. But I'm honored to bring Poke Boy on from PokeScoop to help us kind of diagram some of what is happening in the transfer market. So hello, sir. How are you doing?
I'm doing well, Cody. Thanks for having me on today. And definitely from me and everyone at PokeScoop, appreciate all that you do for Oklahoma State, and we love everything you do on the Twitter side and all over the podcast, and as well as Locked On for Oklahoma State. So thank you.
Oh, no problem. I greatly appreciate it. So real quick, just kind of give the people a rundown. Obviously, PokeScoop is something that's somewhat new, right? But
Absolutely.
How did it kind of get to the evolutionary process of, okay, we're gonna go live with some of this stuff?
Yeah. So we started as a group of four of us, kind of just lifelong fans. Talk about it every single day, all day. You know, it's a huge distraction to anything we're trying to do. So we decided we're gonna, siphon some time for it and, really kind of focus on it. So it started really small, just with Twitter and Twitter Spaces and just kind of generating interactions from fans, but eventually grew to where, now we're interacting with O State all day, pretty much all day, every day. And
that's the whole point, in the irony in the name.
Yeah, exactly. No, it's so true. But a lot of other fans and people, started reaching out to us saying, hey, I really like, the ability to get in, a Twitter space, which is just a live Twitter meeting.
Right.
Anybody who can join, anybody can, ask to speak up or say something in the chat. And when Poke fans get together and they start, having conversations and getting opinions and going back and forth, that's where, we found our bread and butter. So to just basically give the people the opportunity to chat with each other. So bringing Pokes together from all over the world, all over the U.S., everything. So everybody cares, man.
It is ironic you say that, right? So, because we were talking about earlier, and obviously I brought it up last night. The Oklahoma State side of things, you have to dig for information, right? So if you're somebody that's a diehard and you've got to be out there working your tail off, you really don't have time to sit back and read Go Pokes or O State Illustrated or Orange Power or the Daily Ocali or the Oklahoman or the Tulsa World. So to be able to acquire all the Oklahoma State information, that's what you have to do. You have to read all 7 of these publications to get all the little nuggets, right? And it's crazy because we've had a massive amount of success. You've heard me say before, we're kind of like the Oregon of the Midwest. And that comparison's been happening since, 2010, right? And to a lot of degrees, it's true. And it starts with the success and the uniforms. But I would argue that I'm pretty sure if you looked at record-wise, we're pretty close, if not even almost ahead of Oregon as far as consistency in the last 20 years, right? Yeah. But for some reason, you can type in Oregon recruiting and Oregon whatever, and you can find podcast after podcast after podcast. But for Oklahoma State, it's not that way. You have to go read to acquire all the information. So that was my directive, is to be like, okay, cool. We need to be able to, as fans, acquire all of this information. We need to know what's going on, because if that's the case, we can help market the university.
It's
And
pretty
it's
fragmented.
crazy to me when people say that fans don't play a hand in it. It's crazy. It's crazy, right? The fans nowadays, due to this social media market, fans have a big hand in what these dudes do and don't do and see and
Yeah.
read and don't read.
And that's highly evident, in what we see this NIL collective, that Oklahoma State has, and I know a lot of other schools has them, but it's amazing what these fans have accomplished. I think we're north of 3 million at this point, so that's impressive, and it speaks to the base of the alumni here at Oklahoma State, and how much they care and how much they can affect things. But you are highly correct that it's a very fragmented process to try to find out what's going on within the program. So we have learned, in these first few steps of what we're doing at PokeScoop, that it takes all day, like you said, to go through all that stuff, and you can stay on all day. So I wish we would have got the all day title before you picked it up, but you got it.
I do what I can. I do what I can.
Yeah.
Well, and to me, it was just so simplistic, right? Because they're the same as you. Like, even when I was, working another job, all I was doing was researching O State all daggone day, and then I'm trying to talk to people that really don't even know what Oklahoma State is, where Oklahoma State is, and so obviously they're not going to have the same level of emotion attached to it. So I do get a lot of times like, Cody, why are we talking about Oklahoma State University? I'm like, dude, just because you got to listen. Hold on. Hold my beer. Listen to this real quick. So it's crazy how the process has kind of evolved into where it is and how it is. But again, it's all for the sake of spreading information.
Absolutely.
And you got some places that I guess, I don't know. I don't see the competitional side of it, because every bit of O State news we can get a little bit of everywhere, as long as it's accurate, right?
Yep.
Then it does nothing but help the university, because it strengthens the fan base. It's just like I get on the daggone soapbox sometimes about Gundy's inability at times to progress with the media, right? Sometimes he's awesome and he's doing one-handed push-ups and he's talking about winning and scoring and driving down the field. But then sometimes he's like, oh, don't do that. I don't talk about that. We're not going to talk about that. We're not going to do that right here. So sometimes it is slightly frustrating that if you don't explain what's going on, it's hard for fans to get more engaged. Like, that's the beauty of Mike Boynton and JC Hoyt. When they give an interview, you have to watch. And they tell you what's going right at practice, what's going wrong at practice, what they failed at, what plays they ran that didn't work, right? They give you in-depth analysis on what's happening. So even in a loss, you're like, all right, we may have lost, but I'm tracking where Mike Boynton's going. I'm tracking where JC Hoyt's going. Sometimes Gundy doesn't do that.
And so
sometimes we have to be that voice.
Exactly, and not to take it off O State, but that was the beauty of Mike Leach as well.
Good segue.
He was highly honest, transparent, and I definitely saw a lot of your stuff this week about that. So I thought that was a good tribute. And I hope they keep running stuff on ESPN and all these different sports networks all week, because for a while now, actually, I know he got named football. They named how Big Cat gives out the football guy award. So
yes.
The Mike Leach football guy. So I think that was a nice honor, but goes back to transparency with the media. And I'm a bit younger than you, so I guess my first big Gundy moment was I'm a man, I'm 40, and I really don't know what it was like before that, but I hear it was honestly, he's pretty good with the media prior to that, and I think that was maybe a moment that might have lost some trust.
Well, I think it was primarily due to the fact that it wasn't a constant thing, right? Oklahoma State wasn't constantly in the light, so you didn't know as much. And you got to take into consideration Gundy's first year, we went like 3-7. It was absolutely atrocious. So when you start off that way, you're getting the keys to the kingdom from somebody that's like as iconic as a Les Miles. I understand why there's not as much understanding of how those years went. But that's again why I love what we're doing, is because we get to blast from the past quite often.
Oh, yeah.
And it adds that nostalgic effect to the fan base. To me, that's important. The more we can tell people, like when people are like, Oklahoma State doesn't send running backs to the NFL, you're like, okay, cool, except for Barry Sanders and Thurman Thomas. And Joe Randall was really, really good. Kendall Hunter was really good. Justice Hill's finally getting his shot. Jalen Warren's obviously a beast. Chris Carson was a beast. Tyreek Hill ended up being converted to wide receiver. It's just when people say, "Oh, State doesn't have running backs," it's like, no, you got to talk about the Tatum Bells. You got to talk about the Vernon Morencies. You got to talk about those dudes because they're the keys that gave us the Kendall Hunters and the Joe Randalls and the Chris Carsons and the Tyreek Hills. It is what it is.
Mm-hmm.
So speaking of blast from the past, real quick, I got to tell the fine people all over the country that today we are brought to you partially by Bet Online. You already know that betonline.net is your number one source for sports betting, info, news, stats, and analysis. Get the latest odds and trends for every professional and amateur league out there, from college to football, college football, pro football, to bowl season football, to basketball, to World Cup soccer. We've got it all at betonline.net. If you love podcasts, definitely got you covered there as well. We're always the fastest and the easiest way to get your betting info. Head to the website today or use your mobile device to learn more right now. Bet Online. It is where the game starts. And here on Locked On Oklahoma State, we're only here to guide you in the right daggone direction. All right, man. So now let's do a little dive into some of the recruiting stuff. Isn't it funny that 2 weeks ago we were ranked like number 78 in America in recruiting?
Yeah.
And not that number 50 is anything to write home about. I'm not saying that it is. But to go from damn near 80 all the way down now to 50, it shows you that something is moving in the right direction. Now, losing Jabar Muhammad, just like Mason Cobb, it's a big kick in the stomach, man. You didn't see it coming.
No.
And honestly, right before the bowl, it's a little later than normal. So I'm hearing Jabar was back, forth. So I have a feeling, right? In this industry, you have to say allegedly. It's a word you gotta, it is what it is. But I would say allegedly, just like Jark Bernard Converse, right? I'm coming back. I'm going to rock and roll. Oh, snap. There's a bag of cash. I can do this. Yeah. I can't say for certain, and neither can anybody else. But at the moment, that's what it appears, right? So now that's 3 big losses. He's there with Cobb, and Spencer Sanders obviously is a decent loss. But speaking of Spencer Sanders, I've been diving into film like a madman. Yesterday, I went down the rabbit hole. It was fun, right? But if you take into consideration that we have people like a Brennan Armstrong, the Virginia transfer,
right.
He is their all-time leading passer in the history of Virginia University. He has almost like 9,600 yards, right?
I like to hear that.
Well, he's a lefty, but here's what he is. He's a direct replica of Spencer Sanders. No joke, no doubt, to the T. But he's left-handed, and he likes to chunk it deep a little bit more. Oh, well, when I say a little bit more, I mean a lot more.
Yeah.
And then you also have Grayson McCall that supposedly got us in his like top 3 to 5 right now. Yeah.
Yeah.
The 6'3", 210-pounder from Coastal Carolina. And everybody remembers Coastal Carolina's 2021 season was epic, along with Liberty's, right? So these are some kids that are considering coming in. Do you think that both of these guys, Grayson McCall, or even if you went with the Brennan Armstrong, do you think either one of them, how many steps above Garrett Rangel would you say those two would be?
Man, I haven't done as deep of a dive as you did on Brennan's film, so I need to check that out. And same with McCall, but I think I think what we saw out of Rangel we like, but I mean when you mentioned to me he's the all-time leading passer, that kind of it says enough from UVA to come in here and win that starting job and deserve that starting job from the minute, and truly hope that, you know, because we would only get how many we'd get 1 year out of Brennan, right? It would just be
I believe so. Yes.
Yeah. So
Both.
I hope that would not be too discouraging, and I was very proud of the way, you know, I saw Rangel handle himself as far as getting swapped in and out as kind of that injury report was stacking up with Spencer, and same with Gundy as well. So I'm proud of Rangel, but you know, if we do get a guy like Brennan, I want him to learn from Brennan, but also realize that he is going to be in charge of this offense as soon as, you know, whoever we get. Could it be Brennan? Could it whoever comes in next? So honestly, I can't speak to the rankings ladder, but it sounds like he's currently head and shoulders above. But I know, you know, he's facing a different kind of defense than you would find in the Big 12. So one thing I will say, as you mentioned, the Jabar Muhammad, is I go back to the fact that right after, you know, we lost Cobb, pretty much it wasn't immediate. It was a few days, maybe even a week, that we got Justin Wright. So we backed that. And I think, you know, it speaks to Oklahoma State, and, you know, people saying a lot about, you know, how Gundy said he's not a portal guy, but I don't know who's pulling the strings and sending the offers on the back end. But, you know, we offered that CB from Boston College. Can't remember his name right now, but same exact. Yeah.
Stephon Johnson Sr. actually sent me a message as soon as, you know, he announced that he got an offer from O State. He sent me a message saying that dude is certified legit. So if it comes from somebody who travels the country, watching football every day, then I think I'm gonna go with he would be a good get. You're right. And Ladarius Webb Jr. Oh my Lanta, bro. This guy, he's a flipping flying missile. Right. So this is the biggest thing to me, right? And I love the fact that you're seeing a transition, in my opinion, in Gundy or like you said, whoever, somebody in behind closed doors said, "Hey, Gundy, we understand that you're here to develop dudes, and we love it. We get it. We're with it, right? We want the legacy guys. We want the Brock Martins and Malcolm Rodriguez's of the world. We want that. But at the same time, it's a new age, and you have to capitalize." So I do believe that somehow, some way, somebody got in Gundy's ear enough for him to be like, you know what, you're right. Let's hit this thing. Let's use the brand that we have, the logo that we have, and see what we can do with it. And it seems to be working. Now, are we going to have a top 5, top 10, top 15, top 20 class? Probably not. But my biggest thing is we are feeling needs immediately.
Oh yeah, right? It's immediate. It's just that's the great part that I'm seeing on my end, and honestly makes me proud. I was really nervous headed into this season of Oklahoma State football. You know, kind of the back nine here, and I was really nervous, but I'm not freaking out as much as I thought I was going to be. So I don't know if you're in the same boat though.
Well, no, not really. Simply because, okay, so when and I think this does play a big differentiation between a lot of different things when you're talking about doing the analyst type of job, right? When you do the film stuff, the youth we had, even K-State, KU, talent was not an issue. Speed was not an issue. Tracking things down sideline, not an issue, right? The issue was we were filling the wrong areas of the field. That was it. So instead of getting like more cerebrally guided guys, these transfers that we've brought in are nothing but corn-fed, cornbread. I'm going to sock you in the mouth over and over. Every position we're bringing in right now is nothing but smash mouth dudes. Like, I'm expecting the level of play to increase. I'm also expecting a few more 15-yarders, and I'll take it.
Yeah.
Just like I said with Spencer Sanders, if you have 15 picks, not good. But if it comes with 63 touchdowns, all right, good on you. And that's the only reason I would go slightly over. I would choose Brennan Armstrong over Grayson McCall because I view this as Grayson McCall is more of a painter, right? He's fitting windows. He's squeezing it in. He's got a nice, high, tight release. But Armstrong, he's a gamer like Spencer, right? He's just a pure athletic gamer, but he loves to go deep. We haven't had somebody that wants to throw the trigger down the field 60% of the time since Mason Rudolph.
Yep.
Like this dink and dunk stuff does not work if your route concepts are super simplistic. And to me, that's kind of been the issue. And then, we lose Dominic Richardson. I don't think that's big of a deal. Nope. We have DeAndre Jackson coming back. We have obviously Ollie Gordon coming back, Jaden Nixon. And then we got to talk about Sean Tyler, my guy. Have you seen what that guy has done with his Western Michigan film stuff?
I love it.
It's crazy.
Yeah. Those pictures running in the snow are awesome.
Just like the massive 6'7", 295-pound tackle we got from North Texas, from Prague, Oklahoma. So when Okie coming back home.
Yeah.
It's so funny when people are like, oh, good job, Okie Light, Okie State, what the heck ever. You guys are having to get guys from Texas State. It's like, okay, cool. But just like Sean Tyler at Western Michigan ran for over 1,000 yards 2 seasons in a row, that's hard to do in practice. Absolutely. That's hard to do against a scout team, right?
And out of that list of those kind of, you said Joe Randall, Kendall Hunter, like what archetype would you compare him best to personally on your end that you see him filling, the memories of old O State fans? Like, is he more of like a, Chris Carson, punch it in your mouth, or Joe Randall, weave behind the tackles?
I like going old school, right? So he has a little bit of an upright running style, just like Dom has, yeah? But he's a lot quicker, a lot shiftier. The Dom's issue was he didn't always see green grass, right? And again, in the zone blocking scheme, that's kind of what you're looking for. Sean Tyler fits that mold. So we're going to have another Jaden Nixon. So now we have 2 Lightnings to go with our 2 or 3 other Thunders. Exactly. So I think the mixture at running back next year will be significantly, write it down, significantly better than this season.
Yeah.
Gundy's loyalist nature to give Dom the ball over and over. It's commendable. It's respectable. We love it. But he was not the best running back on the team. Like every single time Jaden Nixon got the ball, he did not go backwards. Never, ever, never, never, now, never. Right? And we relegated him to the screen game. And that's the funny part. The latter half of the season, when dudes saw Jaden Nixon on the field, right? They knew there was like 70% shot it was going to be a screen. And they still couldn't stop him.
Yeah. And I'll admit I was a little bit late to, the Jaden Nixon party. And it took until that Baylor game that, he took that kickback that I was like, okay, this dude's here. He's arrived. He's staying. And, this is his zone. So let's give him space.
I think it's going to be good. And again, this Sean Tyler guy, if we can rotate 3 or 4 running backs, which it looks like we're easily going to be able to do, especially when they offset each other. That was the issue with Dom or even somebody like a DeAndre coming back was if you have a bunch of rocks, right, and a bunch of hammers, well, sometimes you need the guy that can slither in between. And if you don't have enough of that, it's hard to manipulate the offense, right? And I'll tell you another thing. Again, we're gonna get back to these dudes we got coming in, and then we got to talk about just the way that we've pieced this thing together so quickly, and why the number of it is not that big of a deal, right? It is what it is. So, real quick. Real brief, we just got to jump in here and we got to tell the fine folks again back home about our other sponsor for the day, which is NHTSA. And guys, this is something that's kind of helping us all drive sober or get pulled over. This is the thing that you kind of question when you go out at night, right? And again, I'm not saying Y'all have done it because y'all are awesome. But sometimes you're just hanging out with buddies. You have a few too many drinks, and because you've done it before and you think you can do it again and you want to bounce and you want to head out. So sometimes it's better to just call for a ride, right? There's no need to be like, nah, I live nearby. It's okay. Done this before. What are the odds? Maybe slim. But even so, what's the worst thing that can happen? Your insurance goes up, you lose your license, lose your job, or you can total your car and kill somebody. See, the escalation of events is not what you or anybody else should experience. So we all know the risks of driving drunk, right? And we all know that this is why police officers are out there right now looking for impaired drivers to make the roads safer, to save more lives. So if you're okay to drive after a few drinks, think again, play it safe, go ahead, get a ride. Guys, Uber and Lyft and all these places have taken off and what they can do. So again, drive sober or get pulled over. It can happen so easily, so quick when you're out with buddies or coworkers. It only takes one mistake to change your life or somebody else's forever. So play it safe, plan ahead, get a ride, and again, never forget, drive sober or get pulled over. There's just no need anymore, right? With all these Lyft companies and all that fun jazz, there's no need. Okay, so the unique thing to me, and when people say, "Oh, State only has the number 50 recruiting class," it's like, okay, that's cute, that's good, that's great. But what we're doing is filling gaps. Like I said, we're bringing in dudes that want to smash your face in.
And we're doing it quickly.
So whenever you bring in a Justin Wright, boom, that quick. And like you've probably heard on the show when he jumped on
that was a great
be real. The best fit for him, hands down, was Iowa State because of the way that Aycock runs his defense. Justin Wright is used to a 3-3-5. That's what he's been in. That's what Montgomery wanted to do. So he knows everything about it. That's what Iowa State runs. And Iowa State runs the 3-3-5 better than almost anybody in the United States of America. So it would have been a great fit for him. He chose the bigger challenge. The bigger challenge was going to a 2-linebacker system, right? You do the math. That's one less linebacker position that people normally have, which means more playing time. So if he's coming to O State, he's coming because he knows he can help Xavier Benson and Nick Martin, and maybe we get Lamont Bishop back, and he's that hammer, right? He may not make the awesome, fun, beautiful, sexy play, but he might be the guy that takes on a double team and plows two people over and forces the running back to go backwards, and then you get the Colin Oliver involved. It's the beauty of what we have coming in, right? It's the same as offensive tackle. This dude we're bringing in, people are like North Texas. Look at Okie State. Ha, ha, ha. Again, just like we're talking about the running back, Sean Tyler, who had over 1,000 yards 2 years in a row.
Yeah.
You don't have this dude, right? Dalton Cooper, he only gave up 7 sacks and 1,326 snaps. Are you flipping kidding me? Again, it's hard to do that in practice against your best flipping player.
Yeah. And
it's insane numbers. And that's what we're bringing in, guys that are clearly way better than everybody else on the field with. No disrespect to the schools that they were at.
Yeah.
But you can tell when a dude is just, he's up there.
And I honestly, after watching his film and learning more about, what he was able to accomplish during his time at Tulsa, I wonder how he ended up at a school like Tulsa, and how he didn't, super glad we got him now. I'm not complaining. Don't tell me. Yeah. But that goes back to your point about the, 3 versus 2 linebackers at that second level, and tells me that he knows he's the guy. He's not worried about losing his spot, which is the confidence I look for out of the veteran leader, similar to what we got from Josh Sills when he came over.
Yeah. Well, so just like I said with Sean Tyler, numbers traditionally speak for themselves. Typically, stats don't lie. Now, there are some very convoluted stats nowadays, right? But if you keep it fairly simplistic, stats tell a big story.
Yep.
And just like Sean Tyler, when you go, I don't care if it's Tulsa University, but when you have 101 daggone tackles in one season and you almost have 11 TFLs, And like what, almost 40 games with Tulsa, he had like 254 tackles, 27 tackles for loss, 8 sacks, 7 sacks, something like that, and a pretty good number of picks. So again, when you're looking at the numeric value of something, which you should, because stats matters, stats, lives matter, okay? And that level of stats, you can't deny it. Anywhere he goes, he's going to be successful. So, yeah, he's huge, right? And then we're in the top 2 for Savion at Washington, right? And when you're rocking and rolling around town at what, 6'8", 6'9", 6'8", 6'9", 325, 330, and everybody wants you. And now it's down to us in Colorado.
Yeah.
That's a little bit of a hard pitch, because if anybody sits here and says we should out recruit Deion Sanders on a daily basis,
no. And on a surface level, look at Deion versus Gundy. Not to compare the two because they're not comparable. You know,
Roger,
Deion's got his own thing, and Gundy's got his own thing. But
player's
perspective, you're looking for. I mean, I don't know. I've never heard of a player that's not looking to play for a player's coach. And
yes, that wants to win.
That is what Deion Sanders is, and the more time that goes on, that seems like what more Mike Gundy is not. And who knows? Like I said, it could be just a front. And you said there's probably a lot of things going on behind the scenes that we don't know of, and things that we will never find out because it's so lock and key. But putting up a front and saying I'm not a portal guy is just about as opposite as you can get from Deion Sanders.
Well, it's all about credibility, right? Okay. So players know that when Deion Sanders says he can do something or he will do something, 99.999% of the time, it's what it is.
Yeah.
So if Deion Sanders says, hey, bro, come to Colorado and I can make you a second round pick tomorrow, you're going to do it. So Gundy has that credibility level as well. It's different, right? It's taken him 15, 16 years of his 18 years coaching to do it as a head coach, right? But it's done. It's been done. Yeah. Gundy now has the ability that when he shows up on campus at a high school, it is a big deal.
Oh, yeah.
And I think, I think we are, in fact, at the moment capitalizing. So if we can get Savion Washington somehow over Colorado and Deion Sanders, which if you look at a fit and you pay attention again, who we're bringing in, we're only bringing in dudes that want to sock you in the mouth. It's the only guys we're bringing in.
Yes, sir.
I mean, look at okay. So let's talk about Dazon Stribling from Washington State. 6'3", 210, 209. And if you watch him run routes, bro, I'm not even gonna lie. I've got a big poster of Justin Blackman somewhere. Yeah. And when he would take off on his route, same with Terrell Owens, they would lean forward all crazy like. That's how that dude takes off on his routes. But once he gets going, he's an absolute animal. So it's so funny. Last year, 247 did a piece on him.
Yeah.
And 247 was saying that he was going to be like the big time surprise wide receiver to bust on the scene in the Pac-12 this season. Yeah. And for whatever reason, he had a good year. He just didn't jump off the page like everybody thought.
Yeah.
Everybody thought that he was just going to massively arrive, and it didn't happen. That's okay, because it didn't happen for Tay Martin either until he came to Stillwater.
That's exactly what I was talking about this morning with somebody. Yeah.
And Tay will tell you, when he came here, isn't that crazy? He came from another pretty significantly sized Division I Power 5 football program.
Yeah.
And he comes to O State thinking that he's ready because he started there and they're pretty good. And he finds out he's a year behind our level of conditioning. Like, yes. So again, if you come to O State, knowing that you're going to leave 20, 30, 15, 45 pounds heavier and ready to rock and roll for the next level. That's why Rob Glass is the highest paid strength man in America. And I know a lot of people this year were a little concerned that maybe Rob Glass went too hard, which is why we got too many people got hurt, right? But again, it's all about numbers, okay? The people tend to forget that we used to be capped. Everybody was at 85, players on team, right?
Huh?
So that's what you had. Now you can have like 135. So yes, injuries matter, and you don't see injuries like this happen hardly ever.
Yeah.
Statistically speaking, I haven't done the math, but I guarantee you somebody watching can. So help me out. Help me out, y'all. But if we can figure out the mathematics behind the difference in winning, when it just comes to that one specific area, I think it's massively beneficial, and it arrives on our side of the coin quite a bit. So we should land a lot of these dudes.
Yeah.
Yes, Stribling he's impressive. He's very impressive. And we love that Z receiver that can just go get it.
Yeah.
To me, that was the coaching had a large hand in Spencer Sanders not really progressing a lot, right? But I also think another reason he didn't progress his first 2 years very much is because he relied on Tylan Wallace and Tay Martin over and over and over. So instead of going through all the progressions, he knew before the play started.
Oh, yeah. And
he was throwing to those dudes.
Yeah.
So, it looks like we're bringing some of that back. And then, again, the offensive line thing. If we can get Savion Washington to be lined up with Dalton Cooper, that's going to make Caleb Etienne 10 times better. And Caleb Etienne's going to be a guy that may sit back behind a little bit, right?
Right.
But this year of injuries was astronomically worse. So again, if somebody statistically can help me find how many injuries this season were compared to other years,
yeah,
I think that would be interesting to know, because again, it's not a massive excuse, right? But it did happen.
Yeah.
And it does happen. The only benefit is those 130 guys or 125 or whatever, the ones that are always on scout team.
Yeah.
They got better, right? Even if they're third stringers their whole career, they just got better, which means this next spring, which means this next fall, we should be much better on the scout team at progressing everybody forward more. Absolutely. Right?
Yeah.
So out of the guys that we've talked about thus far, which is basically the guys, the quarterbacks that could potentially come in, we've hit how massive of a get Justin Wright is, because he fills a gap literally and figuratively speaking, right? And we've talked about Dalton Cooper, big, massive dude, doesn't give up 7 sacks for 1,326 or 28 or whatever it is, about 1,300 plus. That's just amazing, right?
Yeah, great.
And another thing I wanted to talk about before we skedaddle on out of here was give me something that you've noticed throughout this recruiting cycle right now that's surprising to you, whether it be a person, whether it be a way we're doing it, but yada, yada, yada. Just give me a little intel on your opinion from how the recruiting cycle right now is different than all the others in years past.
Yeah, no, I think that what I'm seeing and what we're talking about a lot as our team is the immediately filling those needs. I agree with you that there's still a few positions like quarterback that we need to see something happen immediately, whether it's, McCall or Armstrong, like you said. But as far as, cornerback, and I know, we haven't had a commitment yet from the Boston College kid, but the fact that we got an offer out the same day, and right immediately. So our big thing, and what I'm so excited about and proud of, honestly, is the immediate attention that we're getting to those wounds that need Band-Aids, and that's been the big difference for me. So as it compares to past seasons, I don't really know, because last season was the first time we've had a transfer portal, right?
Really, yeah.
So that was a big thing, and I only say that is because we got guys like Tay Martin that added value to the bottom line. So I know it's going to be value adders as well. So guys like Justin Wright. So how about on your end? Because that's what I'm seeing and that's what I'm loving is immediate fills.
Yeah, no, that's massive, right? Your ability to respond on and off the field is a pretty good indication of what direction you're going. And again, to me, the best part about what we're doing right now in recruiting is whether it be high school kids or transfers, the number one thing right now seems to be we're just looking for smash mouth, hardcore,
Yeah.
throw it all on the line, throw caution to the wind and just let it rip, let it ride. And we're going to, obviously, as the segments move on, the next segment, I'll cover a lot of the high school guys. But yeah, from a statistical perspective, the guys we're bringing in, you're dead on. They're filling exact holes at exact times. And it's wonderful to see how aggressive we are. Heck, again, we touched on it briefly, but we haven't talked enough about Ladarius Webb Jr. That dude is a monster. Yeah. He's an absolute monster. So I know losing Jabar Muhammad is going to hurt. Obviously, it appears as though we're going to hold on to Corey Black, which is okay. You've heard a lot of good things about DJ McKinney and DeKelvin Beeman and even Epps, right? We've got some people fluttering in the background that we know are good. But somebody like a Webb Jr., right? And, his response to everything is just, it's exactly the kind of character that you want in Stillwater as well. It makes it easy to build around.
Absolutely. Yeah. It's bringing in those players because, we talked with Lyric after you had him on your show. And Lyric kind of told us that, he's looking to be a bigger voice, and I don't see any of these guys coming in, especially as you mentioned, Webb is like coming in and being quiet and taking the back seat in the locker room, and I think these guys are immediately leaders who that's what we need because if you look at the guys we're losing in the transfer portal, it's a lot of our team leaders on both sides of the ball. So the fact that we're not only filling with skills, but also leadership that is developed and tried and true already.
Yeah, we do have a lot of youth, and a lot of youth did play quite a bit. I think a little opposite in the transfer market for me, only in the sense of because we had so many freshmen and sophomores and redshirt freshmen that got way more playing time than they were ready for this season.
Yeah. If
you look at who we've lost, Mason Cobb hurts, Jabar Muhammad hurts, Spencer Sanders hurts. Thomas Harper, it kind of hurts, but he was a special teams guy for 3.5, 4 years. And then he missed the last 5 games of the season. So it doesn't hurt that bad. It's no disrespect. It just is we're the same with Trace Ford. Yes, he's an NFL level talent, but the poor guy's spent 75% of his career in the medical room, right? I just, so when people say that we're losing all these big time dudes, they haven't been playing for some of them really years. So I don't always agree that the name that we're losing indicates the level of
You're right.
play, because whenever Trace Ford went out, whose numbers went up?
Yeah. Colin
Oliver.
Yeah.
Right. So Colin Oliver proved that he's a little bit more of a volume guy, right? We learned something this year about Colin Oliver. It takes him a half, 3 quarters before he gets
cranking. Thank God we're a second half ball team too.
But when he gets cranking in the second half, he's really, really, really hard to stop. Offensive tackles have a hell of a time with him in the fourth quarter. It's a fact. So, and then we lose someone like a Kanian Williams. He showed talent, right? Reminds you a little bit of it to Kelvin Beeman, if we're being real. But again, a special teams guy, right? So we're losing some dudes that have been here for a few years. That is accurate.
Yeah.
But I would argue that a good portion of them left because they see the Lyric Rawls. They see the Kendall Daniels. They see the Trey Ruckers, the DeKelvin Beemans, the Cameron Apps.
Yeah.
These guys are moving around. And we've got somebody like Cam Franklin coming in, right? A 6'3", almost 200-pound corner safety. Like, we're about to have, I don't know if you've noticed this, but we're about to have every corner and safety over like 6'1", 6 foot here before too long. Who'd have thought? Who'd have thought at Oklahoma State we'd be getting a bunch of Justin Gilberts when we used to have to get a bunch of Broderick Browns that just surprise people?
Yeah.
Right. Paris Cox was not very big.
Yeah, we're starting to get deep there, so that's exciting, man.
Awesome. It's fun. It's fun. So, all right, brother. Before we skedaddle on out of here, I want you to give me one player on the team right now that you think is going to have a breakout season, and one recruit that we're looking at that you think is just a must-have.
Yeah,
that's about to decide soon.
Yeah, I'll start with the recruit that's a must-have, and I think I'm feeling really good about is got to be Brennan Armstrong. So coming in at QB, and I'm gonna say recruit, and that includes the transfer pool, not just
for sure.
So Armstrong must have got to get that QB room deep again, and I think there's a ton that he can teach Rangel and Gundy, and then we set ourselves up nicely for the next 2 to 3 years there. As far as breakout player goes, man, we saw a glimpse of it in the last home game. Disappointing loss for sure, but I think Stephon Johnson is coming for everybody next year, and
I agree.
It showed both in the routes he's running and the plays he's trying to make, although maybe the ball didn't get to him. But also very scrappy, very, I like it. I think he's going to have a great year, and I'm pumped to watch our receiving corps blossom, but it doesn't happen without a quarterback, like Brennan, Armstrong.
Yeah. So, I mean, again, I just disagree just a hair. I'm more of in the camp that I would rather spend an extra scholarship spot on an additional O-lineman. I would rather spend so many scholarship spots on O-linemen that we lose one than spend one on a quarterback that I don't necessarily think is necessary. Hear me out, okay? Only because of the talent around.
Yeah.
If you have, let's say, Ollie Gordon gains 5 more pounds of muscle and he improves his 40 by 2.2 seconds. Let's just say that happens. Let's say Jaden Nixon gets a little bit faster. Let's say this Sean Tyler kid that comes in from having over 2,200 yards in 2 years.
Yeah.
Let this kid kind of see how he blossoms. And then you factor in DeAndre Jackson, who is going to be a beast when we need some yardage. Obviously he's trying to get on the show. I guess we're just back and forth. It is what it is, but we're playing phone tag, I guess. We'll get it squared away. But you look at that amount of talent, and if we can shore up this O-line, if we got a Dalton Cooper, if we can get Caleb Etienne a little bit more progressed, if we can bring back Cole Birmingham and Preston Wilson, another guy who we're going to end up having on the show, and then you can get somebody like a Savion Washington, you're building something. And then you look at wide receivers. How deep are we at wide receiver? It's insane. You can always use more talented wide receivers, right? Nobody's ever going to question that. But that's not an issue right now. Like, if we had to roll out with just the wideouts we have right this very moment, we're fine. We're fine. So I think that at quarterback, if you put that amount of talent around Garrett Rangel, I do believe that that's a 10-11 win season no matter what happens. You are right. If we bring somebody in like an Armstrong that is willing to chunk it deep every 4, 5, 6 plays over and over and over, it does make it a little bit more exciting. It does. Yeah. And I think that pushes Rangel to be better.
Yeah.
So I'm with you, just for a little bit of a different reason, because I don't know that either of McCall or Armstrong are just light years ahead of Rangel. Rangel to me is 15 pounds shy of being that dude.
Yeah, no, that's majorly a valid point. And
you're right. dude, with Stephon Johnson Jr., his ability to get on the defensive back's feet, to get the DB on his heels or flip his hips the wrong way, his ability to do that as a freshman is remarkable. It is. His route running and feet technique, it's really good. It's really, really good. And he'll tell you, just like when we had his dad on the show, the only Achilles heel he had this year was high pointing. That was it. There was a few times he tried to, make the safe catch, and it allowed the DB time to catch back up.
Yeah.
But that's, you improve that, and you're golden. You're aces. And like I said, I think we have so many weapons. If we can build up this O-line real quick, fast, and in a hurry, we're going to be very, very dangerous, regardless of who we have at QB.
We got a lot more good going for us right now than bad, and I think that's what a lot of people are zeroing in on is the little tiny negative things. But we need to expand our vision here and realize that there's good things happening in Stillwater. The coaching staff is making the right decisions. Whether you agree with the face of the coaching staff and the words that are coming out of his mouth or not is up to you. But man, you gotta focus on what's. You gotta filter out the good and the bad and realize it's outweighed itself right now. Totally.
That's actually a phenomenal way to put it, right? I completely agree. If you have more bad going on than good, then there's a problem. There's a problem that needs to be talked about. And I think we actually did cover that during the season.
Yeah.
So I started I think 3 weeks or so right before you, right? Yeah. Before y'all launched this thing last month.
Yeah.
And you could see, right, mid-season towards the end, K-State, KU, you could physically see that something was wrong, right? Yes. There was a disconnect somewhere. And now that the season's over and you've had the things transpire as they have and you've seen who transferred, I do see that there was a disconnect in the locker room, clearly. But it appears to me the disconnect was Spencer Sanders and Mike Gundy. Not that they disliked each other by any stretch. I know they love each other, right? But
I believe
you could tell Spencer Sanders wanted more control. He wanted more say. He wanted to be a little bit more risky. You could tell when he would get irritated and frustrated when we'd run the ball on 3rd and 14 right up the
body language.
Yeah, so that became infectious. And it caught wildfire. To me, that's what happened. That's what happened this season. And what we've been able to do with all these dudes like Ollie Gordon and Kendall Daniels and Colin Oliver and Preston Wilson and Cole Birmingham, you're seeing these dudes talking about running it back 23 basically.
Yeah.
Right? So you're getting a lot of meat and taters back. I know we're losing some big deals. I get that. But the gaps that we're feeling make this conversation a lot better than worse. So it makes it fun. And let's face it, for your job to succeed, this is a fact. For my job to succeed, we have to be good at stuff.
Yeah.
Nobody wants to tune into a show, no matter how cool it is, to talk about how 2 and 8 is okay. It's not. I couldn't have imagined doing a show for KU football for a decade.
Yeah, it's probably pretty true right now, though, huh?
It's yeah, but I mean, Jesus, Mary and Joseph, that would be difficult to go through, buddy.
Absolutely.
It's like every day you got to try to be positive. Like, hey, we only lost by 43 today, so.
Hey man,
so come check out my podcast and hear me talk about how we gave up 726 yards. That would suck, dude.
Oh, we beat Texas.
Oh, well, the funny part about that, when they beat Texas and they should have beat OU, and they played West Virginia to overtime or really close too, right? Back to back. You saw that they're figuring some stuff out. You could see it. And that's, again, my one of my frustrations with Gundy is I feel like there's times when people say stuff that's just wildly inaccurate. I'm coming. It is what it is. Because I feel like, again, O State can never grow if we allow people to say negative, false stuff all the time, when you've got 5 shows talking crap about how O State's falling apart, and then you have 0 shows combating it, again, that's what gets me riled up. And I don't mind, because the research, right? If you do enough research, you can call people out and tell them they're flipping wrong, and you can prove that they're wrong, and you don't mind doing it. And so again, that's the good fight. And I want to thank people like you for doing it too. Because if we that's what happens, bro, is you have all these analysts and journalists talking about how crappy things are for O State. So if you're a student or a casual fan, guess what you hear? Oh, O State's in a bad spot. And then we're looking at it as dudes that research all day, every day. And we're like, no, we're not that bad off. Why are people acting like the Titanic's going down?
Yeah, every day.
Well, all we lost was a couple of our lifeboats. Is it a big deal? Yeah. Is it going to sink the ship? Hell to the no.
It's a great analogy.
It just it's wild to me. So that's why I love this job, because I feel like we can help market and grow the brand by telling people what's up.
Oh yeah.
So stop letting all the negative feed out and spew all over the place, and allow casual fans to grab a hold of it and think things are just falling apart. That's my mission. That's our mission, is to make sure people understand, like, no, chill out. But I will tell you, when things are going up sideways, I will tell you about it all day, every day. But when people are saying stuff that's not true, I feel like it's our job to be like, no, don't spread this crap.
Yeah. Absolutely.
And that's why I love it. And that's why I'm very, 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 very glad that you were able to jump on the show. Because again, every avenue that you can explore to just help grow O State. We're at a time where that logo is pretty cool, right? We're at a time in our history that people nationally know what that logo is. So now it's time that we grow it and we make it bigger, and we let people understand that we do have the Des Bryants and the Barry Sanders and the Thurman Thomas and the Mason Rudolphs and the James Washingtons and the Chris Carsons and the Tyreek Hills of the world, because not enough people know. Bro, how long did we spend before we put a flipping statue of the greatest running back in the history of football? Why did it take us 25 years?
That's a good question.
Why do we have dudes like Bob Finnemore and Terry Miller and Thurman Thomas, and we wait 30 years to start putting their names up?
We're playing some catch up right now, really fast.
Exactly. It blows my mind. But that's probably why the show is growing fast.
Yeah.
Is because when you hear all this crap, and then you have people coming in and just if you break it down by stats, that's why I love stats. That's my obsession, right? I write stuff down because I commit it to memory, and statistically, I think that's how you prove people wrong. When they say that, Mason Cobb's leaving because he was only going to be average at O State. I've heard that. And then you're like, the dude has 96 tackles. Yeah. And somebody's going to pay him a big old bag of wad of cash because he's average? Well,
no.
What? And again, that's the stuff that I feel like we are here to combat, because you see it constantly. You see the crap fest all the time. And we have to be able, even as casual fans, if you want to name drop me or PokeScoop and just be like, no, I actually heard that, we're bringing these four or five guys in, so things are getting better as a casual fan. And all it does is it helps us grow. Yeah. Right?
We're happy.
And the more we grow, the more success we have, the more it helps enrollment, the more it helps with financial capabilities, the more it helps with donors, the more it helps with NIL. So again, you, sir, appreciate what you're doing.
Thank you,
keep
Cody.
fighting a good fight, because
Likewise.
it's going to get out there. And
What happened?
whenever one of our sports kicks open that door, I think things are going to take off a lot, because just like in basketball, even though I don't always agree with the sentiment of we need a winner before we'll show up to the game.
Yeah.
I get it. But once we have that level of winner, I think that all of the Oklahoma State people that do it the right way, that do it on a daily type of basis, are going to be able to grow even more. So that's why I love doing what I do every single day, because I know the more success we have, the more this is all growing. Like, could you imagine 1 year where we made it to the Final Four in football, made it to the Final Four in basketball, and made it to Omaha in baseball?
I don't think you and I have enough time in the day, in the year, to handle that.
No, it would be a lot, but it would be amazing. Because again, that's the flippant objective. You know what I mean?
Great.
And you're right. It is amazing, because I wake up every single day with messages from multiple people. Like, did you hear about this coach? Did you hear about this recruit? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it makes it so much fun, bro.
It does, man.
And so that's, you're doing things the right way, and you guys are definitely. And before we get out of here, can you tell me briefly, you guys kind of are taking this this group approach, right? And I think from a journalistic coverage type of thing, it's very smart. But if you could briefly kind of explain to me why or how you got this big group together,
Exactly.
and inevitably, what is your end-all be-all goal to PokeScoop, and the fact that you have so many guys helping make it awesome?
Yeah, exactly. I think it comes from a different couple different things, but ultimately, we're all college best friends, and all lived together at one point, and made such great memories in Stillwater together, that we have this shared desire for our university, as we all do. But there are subject matter experts in each sport, and basketball, wrestling, football, baseball. So those are the main four.
Right.
We've got to get a lot better at deserving time towards JC Hoyt's team, and we've got some some golf knowledge, but definitely not the expertise that the level of our school deserves, because we are top tier golf university as well. So it came from what everyone was passionate about amongst our big passion, which is Oklahoma State and the athletics of the university. So I guess the goal would be to have more access to the things that we are passionate about, and that starts with the university and getting media access. So I think that's a big milestone that we're looking at, and we're just chug-a-lugging our way along towards that. But we know that takes time, based on people that we've talked to that have tried to go that route that have failed. So right now we are trying to mitigate all the negative thoughts and past experiences that everyone else has had, and just go about it a new way, and just 100% transparent with the university, but also with people that we do our live Monday night spaces with, because both of those stakeholders are equal to us. Right. They both make this machine that is Oklahoma State athletics work. So that's kind of our origin story, and where we hope to go. But it's a step-by-step process that we've learned.
Well, I would say definitely keep it up, because I have noticed that Monday, the amount of people watching, it continues to grow.
Yeah.
And that's really all you're looking for. As long as you're growing, you're fine. If you ain't growing, you're dying.
Yep.
Right. And you are right. There are a lot of people that have tried to do this. And in my opinion, it's just my opinion, but in my opinion, why it didn't always work is two things. Number one, people try to take too much of a journalistic and professional type of approach, if you ask me.
Yeah.
Because when you have a conversation with somebody about sports, when's the funnest time to get in an argument with somebody about football or basketball? At the bar. right? Like in your backyard, grilling and barbecuing.
Yeah.
And a lot of people try to, I don't know, they get too invested with how easy it is to do research, right? And they do things on the fly because A, they think it looks easy, and B, they don't have the passion for it.
No.
Like you have to, it's not just a job. Like if you go get a journalism degree from Stanford, right? And then you get a job at O State, you're going to do it like a job. That's great. But you're not going to be invested every single day. You're not going to be watching videos and reading newspapers on a daily basis. And so to me, that is probably where a lot of people failed. It's because they view it more of a job than an obligation to do the right thing. And to me, that's what the biggest thing is. If you're going to get on, your obligation is to make things bigger, badder, and better for the university.
Oh, yeah.
If you don't add anything, if you don't add value to what you're trying to get out, then in my opinion, it doesn't work. And that's why, again, part of the reason I did this, you watch some shows and it's so monotone,
Yep.
rehearsed, reading, on the fly type of crap. If you don't put in the time, to me, it's visible. And if it's visible, that means you're not respecting what you're doing enough, and it has to be a passion thing. There are some people like a Josh Neighbors that are very successful at doing the job and just being so professional about it that they do cover everything, every angle, the same way. I'm not going to do that. I research and watch O State stuff 6-7 hours a day, every single day.
Yeah.
I don't go on and watch 7 hours of Washington film. Why? Because it has nothing to do with me. That's not my lane.
Exactly.
So to me, if you dedicate your time to your craft, and if your craft is O State, your knowledge of O State gives you more credibility equals growth. And yeah, the passion's part of it. And so that's why I think you guys are going to be successful, because it's a group of you that have different expertise that actually do care. So you're not just reading something and presenting it. It's in your mind because you give a hoot about it.
Yeah.
Like I could argue against a brick wall about O State. I could. I swear to you I could. But it's just when it gets ingrained in your memory and you can present it to people as facts, it opens people's eyes. When you don't even live in the state and you can go somewhere and talk to them about Oklahoma State University just because they're walking in with a UMass t-shirt on.
Yeah.
Like I started a conversation the other day at a gas station, dude walking with a UMass shirt. And then I just started talking about Travis Ford because that's where we got Travis Ford from, was UMass.
Yeah.
And me and this dude get on this 10-minute conversation over at the gas pump about Travis Ford. And what am I doing? I'm spitting Oklahoma State stuff because that's what I think about all day.
Yeah.
And it does nothing but help grow it. So again, if I have any advice, it is be realistic, be accurate. You're going to mess up sometimes. And the beauty of this job is everything you do on Mondays is recorded.
Yeah.
So people can rewind it and be like, hey, you remember that stupid thing you said that one Tuesday? It's going to happen.
Yeah.
And I think that's why some people walk the line, right? And they're so focused on not saying something that can be used against them. I give 13 craps, because if you're going to use something against me in a couple of years, that's fine. I don't care if I was wrong, but it's because I know I researched it well enough to put it out there. So are things going to be wrong sometimes? Yes.
Absolutely.
But you can't let that deter you. Right?
Yeah.
I get some messages that, Cody, you're too aggressive. That may be. But even if I make mistakes being too aggressive, all I ask is that you tell me where I'm wrong. Just because I may be too aggressive does not mean I'm wrong. Like I caught flack the other day for saying that Boone Pickens Stadium doesn't hold a candle to a packed out 13,000 plus Galgariba.
Yeah.
Okay, I offended some people. I apologize to some degree, but is it a lie? Have you ever been to a 13,200 Gallagher IBA? If you haven't, you don't know.
Yeah.
But if you've been to one, you may get angry about what I said, but you should also in the back of your mind be like, that guy, it's too rude. It's too aggressive. We love Boone Pickens. But that little voice has to be in the back of your head saying,
maybe AD
but you don't walk out of Boone Pickens deaf.
Yeah.
Like you don't. Like, other than Bedlam last year.
That's it. Yeah.
You don't walk out of Bedlam thinking, holy crap. That was a physical experience. Yeah, dude. It's insane. But again, like if you present it and it's real information, 90% of the time, you're going to be wrong occasionally.
Yeah.
It is what it is.
We already have been a few times. So it comes with the good comes with the bad. Hopefully, like we said, more good than bad always. And just got to say, we couldn't do it without you. So we appreciate your continued help and support and advice for us, because it is a tough job.
It is.
But a lot of people think you can just wake up one day and make a Twitter account and just start spewing and retweeting things, but that's not the case.
There are hundreds, and I'm not lying, there are hundreds of sports broadcast journalists, podcasters that they don't research nothing. I'll give you one. You ready for this one? Paul, the mouth-breathing buffoon Feinbaum. That dude, I would bet you money that at one point in time in his career, he did study, right? I would say that's probably accurate. And then the big BS boat of the SEC rolled in with their massive marketing genius. And they were like, hey, you cover SEC. Guess what? We're about to blow the SEC up. All you got to do is sit here and not screw it up. So he got to a point in his career that he didn't have to research anything because he was backed by the almighty SEC. So he could jump behind a microphone and say something stupid like, oh, hell, I don't know. Nobody in the country likes Bedlam. Yet we have 8.8 or 9 million flipping fracking viewers.
Viewers, yeah.
Those people, dude, there's hundreds of them. And that's why, again, this job, I put a lot into it because I think you can see the difference between the dudes who do research it and the dudes who get on and say stupid crap.
Agreed.
Right? Like if you say, okay, I got a really good example, right? Right now, we've got a kid. Sorry for having to take a drink. We've got a kid. Have you heard of this new guy we just got, Andrew McCall?
Yeah.
Out of Atoka, Oklahoma. He's a preferred walk-on. Yeah. Okay. But the dude's 6'2", 215. And so here's my assignment for you when you get off here. Watch that dude's film. It is insane. Like we said earlier, like Ladarius Webb Jr. in JUCO. He's so much better than everybody else. It's like, why is he there? Understand, Atoka, Oklahoma is only a 2A high school. I get that. But when you see a guy that is D1 caliber, he better be head and shoulders above everybody. Yeah?
At the 2A level, yeah.
This kid is a nightmare for every single. He's bigger than everybody. He's stronger than everybody. He's faster than everybody. He wears the old school neck collar. He fills gaps as good as Justin Wright does in a heartbeat. I get that it's small time football. Okay.
Yeah.
But when again, it's all about production. To me, it's all about production. And if you're somebody that's going to get out there and you're going to be able to produce to that crazy level, then sign me up because
and
the dude had he had a 99 tackles and 20 something tackles for loss. Like his numbers are just
phenomenal.
Insane. They're absolutely insane. So if he comes to O State and he puts on 10 more pounds, he's already 6'2", 6'3". He looks like Bobby Boucher, bro. Go watch his film. I swear to you, he looks like Bobby Boucher. I'm not even lying to you.
He needs to bring Malcolm's little brother too. He got a PWO, I think it was yesterday.
Yes, he did. Gabriel Rodriguez. Yeah.
Wagner's
And
a small market like that, and we need to get them both there immediately with Coach Glass.
well, and again, so I don't mind drinking gallons of orange Kool-Aid all the time, but also don't mind keeping it real. The difference, in my opinion, between Gabriel Rodriguez, and I would love to be wrong, I would purposely lose money to be wrong, but I don't see Gabe being able to do a lot.
Yeah.
I just, I think Gabe would probably dominate at somewhere like in North Texas, but he's an athlete. We don't really know where he's going to go, where he's going to fit in. So I don't know, but I think that wholeheartedly, not sunshine pumping. I think this high school kid, I think he's got something. I think Andrew McCall, he's got something that
I'll go do my homework.
You don't see it very often.
Yeah.
Like even if he was playing 6A football, if he read and reacts like that, and his number one objective is to break something when he hits you,
he's your guy.
I'll take it. There's a reason they call Justin Wright the psycho.
He's got the tattoo to show it too.
Yes, and that's how he plays. That's how Lyric Rawls is going to play. That's how Trey Rucker plays. And now we've got Justin Wright, and I got to save some nuggets for my show tomorrow. But I'll just say that there's a common theme, and we'll start tomorrow's show with offensive linemen, and we'll kind of go over that department because that's where we're hurting the most.
Mm-hmm.
There's going to be, like I said, I got to save some stuff, but there's going to be some commonality there.
Yeah.
And to me, it's something that Gundy has I've never, ever seen Gundy recruit this way.
No.
We've recruited speed, right? Because we're not as big and bad and hard as everybody else. So we've recruited speed and specialty positions for the last 16 years. Yeah.
Accurate.
This is a different class. We have never recruited this way.
Yeah, no, you're right. That's a good observation, and
it's fun, man.
I'm curious how long it will take to see it come to fruition, and now we're this new brand that's not speed. How
all right, I'll leave you one more nugget before we get out of here. You ready for this one?
Hit me.
We are all over tight ends right now. We are all over them. We've got Blaine Green coming back. I haven't heard anything about Rashad Owens. I haven't heard anything about Braden Cassidy. Okay. No. But why would we be targeting a crap ton of tight ends, big time tight ends, unless we plan on moving on from Dickey and McIndoe and starting? It's somebody's making a concerted effort right now to say, you know what? I'll be damned.
Good point.
We need another Blake Jarwin. We need another Brandon Pettigrew. Let's just get it done. And so I'm in love with the way we're going and recruiting right now. We've never recruited this way. It's a bold move, Cotton. We'll see if it works out.
It hurts to see. It hurts to see Jelani Woods balling out too.
Dude, so I told you how I went down the rabbit hole yesterday. Yeah.
Yeah.
When I started watching Brennan Armstrong film, I got lost in 24 minutes of watching daggum Jelani Woods too.
Man, yeah, no, it kind of hurts, and it will always hurt to see underutilization happen, and when they move on to different schools or to the league. But that is tale as old as time. So
same with Blake Jarwin. Like that's what people want to say, that he was the last one, but really, we didn't use him very well at all.
No.
He was open on seam routes all the time. He was just surrounded by better talent. But I think if you put Blaine Green there and you bring in one of these big time tight ends we're looking at, it has to be for a reason. And again, that's another reason I'm comfortable with Garrett Rangel. If you give him a Brandon Pettigrew type as a bailout, that's what we don't have right now. Yeah, how many times did we even try to throw the ball to Rashad Owens? Maybe 5-6 times all year, maybe.
maybe.
And it's just you watch all these other games, all these other highlights. Teams are using Iowa State, multiple tight ends. K-State, multiple tight ends. OU, multiple tight ends.
It's working.
All these teams, TCU, they're all using tight ends against us, and we're not. We're the only team that does not use the daggone tight end in the Big 12. But it looks like we're either playing with fire or we're about to drown. Because if we're going this level, I'll explain tomorrow. But goodness gracious.
Can't wait for it, bro. Appreciate you having me on.
Yeah. All right, man. I appreciate your time. Let the fine folks out there across the country know how they can find you, and a little bit more about what y'all got going on. Give yourself a shameless plug, my guy.
Thank you. Yeah, we're at PokeScoop, and I am Poke Boy. We got the ghost of J.W. Walsh, Sam Too Stilly. His account's been kind of having some issues lately, but finally Stilly Wheat. That's the team of 4, and we are, we're working on expanding our platform. But right now, Twitter is our spot, and we got some merch coming out soon. We got some sponsors.
Oh, really?
We got some shirts in the works, stickers. So we definitely want to make sure our label is out there where you can see it and continue to support us. So we very much appreciate AD and everything he's done for us, because he has helped us go to the moon in what's been only about a month. So
I appreciate it, man.
We're both going a lot higher, and this is what O State needs. So thank you.
I agree. I wouldn't do it if it didn't make sense. What was it? Was it Floyd Mayweather always said, if it doesn't make money or it doesn't make sense, if it's not good business, why take the risk?
Yeah.
I agree. I think I know for certainty that this is going to inevitably end up taking off. So I enjoy that you guys are willing to put in the work, and it makes it fun. It makes it a lot easier to kind of have a community of people that are helping something collectively grow, because we as a university, and when Bob Bowlesby was the leader of the Big 12 Conference, we did not market ourselves whatsoever. I've said this before, the Big 10 and the SEC, the only flipping reason they are viewed above us is marketing. They've been putting out commercials for a decade about how awesome Alabama is, about how epic Ohio State is, even when they both weren't good.
Research universities, right?
And now you look at this year as a perfect example. If you take the bottom 5 of the Big 12 and they go play the bottom 5 of the SEC and the bottom 5 of the Big 10, they stomp a mud hole in them. It's not even a question. But, again, people don't know enough about that. People don't know enough about Big 12 country,
right?
And especially O State. And we, like we talked about earlier, we as a university, we failed because we didn't have a statue of Barry 15 years ago, because we didn't start the Ring of Honor a decade ago. We are miles and miles and miles away from being behind the 8 ball.
We did both.
We got a lot of catching up to do. But again, if we keep at it, the catching up will take care of itself.
Agreed.
I love it. All right, brother, man. Well, I greatly appreciate you having on the show. Everybody out there, O State Nation, say hello to one of the founding gentlemen to get PokeScoop rocking and rolling, and then also say goodbye to my guy over there. I greatly appreciate your time, brother, man, again. And basically, that's all we got for this one. But I leave everybody with this. If you build it, they will come, right? Everybody's heard that. That's a good old Kevin Costner baseball analogy that everybody understands. But it's true, right? If you build something and you do it the right way and you have the right building blocks behind it, I believe that even though you step on toes here and there, it's the nature of the beast. You can be successful, and you will be successful as long as what you're doing is based on success. Mike Gundy, we need you to keep winning, buddy. Mike Boynton, You're this close. JC Hoyt, keep doing your thing. You're helping us a lot. Josh Holiday, it's Omaha time, baby. And women's softball, let's win us another Big 12 title. Equestrian, another national title. We'll get wrestling turned around. We'll get golf figured out. Because here on Locked On Oklahoma State, your first listen every single day, available on every podcasting platform as well as YouTube, is here to give it all to you. I greatly appreciate your time. As always, I love you all. God bless. Go Pokes. And we will do this again tomorrow.